I'm seeing a lot of agencies offering digital PR, which isn't really digital PR. I mean, that's a great business model for them, but there's no value in that for you. You pay a bunch of money, you get a link report, and unknowingly, you've got zero value in what's been delivered.
We've got 3 types of kind of fake PR.
Okay, so another thing which I'm seeing a lot of lately is obviously digital PR has taken off more so in recent months, especially with a focus on quality links with all the recent Google updates. And I'm seeing a lot of agencies offering digital PR, which isn't really digital PR. So firstly, what do we determine as being digital PR? In our opinion, it's earned media links. So it has to be earned. And that has to be done organically, naturally, by the value you give is the story you tell or the pitch that you give to the journalist. And then they either include you or in their article, or they run your story as an article, and you've earned that. But what I'm seeing some agencies, and I'm even seeing people talk about like link wins that I've got. I had a prospective client reach out to me a few months ago asking, saying that he was eyeing up a few different options, and he'd said to me that an agency had quoted him quite a much lower price on a per link basis. And what we always say is, you should shop around. That's what everybody should do. You want to spend your money in a place that you feel comfortable, but you want to make sure that you're getting sample link reports and have a conversation with the vendor that you're going to use to ask to see what it is that they're offering. And this guy, I said to him, did you ask for a sample report? And he said he would. And he said, would you have a look at it? I said, that's fine. Yeah, you can ping that over to me. And I had a look, and I could just tell instantly. So all of these links that had been included in this report, they were a combination of, first and foremost, like wire releases. So, these services you can pay about $100, $200, and they'll release a press release on the wire, and it just auto gets picked up by hundreds of publications that are, they've got letters and numbers in them. I think they're like American radio channels.
Yeah, and then a lot of like small town affiliates. So like the Fox network or the ABC network, they've got ABC, for every tiny little town, and they don't come up with their own news stories. They just kind of, they might some, but other than that, they just syndicate what comes through the network.
It's super easy to do, like
very
one
cheap.
click, and it goes everywhere. And if they're billing you on like a per link basis for that and adding a margin, I mean, that's a great business model for them, but there's no value in that for you. You could go and do that like tomorrow and have those links like within a week. So no value. And then the other mix of the links, which looked more promising on the face of it, certain publications, for example, Entrepreneur, they do engage in non-editorially earned opportunities by way of sponsored content. Okay. That's within their right. That's perfectly above board, and they make that clear. They make it relatively clear that that article is a paid for article.
They often make it clear to the search engines. You might. It's not always that easy to see, true. But it's always clear to Google, which means you don't get the SEO benefits.
Yeah, 100%. And you don't get the SEO benefit at all. And there's an easy way to check this. So firstly, we're recommending ask your vendor, your potential vendor, to see some sample campaign reports. You want to see those links. And I don't just mean like the name of the publication that they're saying that they've got the links. You want to see URLs so you can dive into that URL and have a look around. Okay. And then I'm going to show you. So this is one of the articles that I came across. So it's an Entrepreneur article, and actually this is pretty clear at the top. You can see here it says sponsored content. And what that means that this article has been paid for. The publication is making that clear in this instance to its readers and also to Google. And the way that you can see that, if you didn't see this here, sometimes the article isn't clear on face value, but you can look into the HTML code. And the way to do that is just right click inspect, and then you're in the HTML, and then Command F or Control F, and just search for the word sponsored. And then, as you can see here, this is sponsored content, and it's given us the name of the sponsor partner. These people here they've paid for a link agency, or maybe they've pitched unknowingly.
Are there multiple links in there?
Yeah.
And so someone sold a bunch of links. Sponsored content can work, right? Not for link building. It's not a link building tactic. And it wouldn't work in this scenario because you've crammed a bunch of links in there. The only time sponsored content is worth going for is if you are getting in front of your exact audience, right? So it's referral traffic. link. Other than that, there's zero value.
Especially when it's just a giant roundup post with no connection between. I mean, I imagine this has been done. If we're blurring this out or not, I'm not sure. But either way, this clearly looks like a PR firm that will likely be selling these as PR links. And in fact, what they've done is they've got a price from Entrepreneur for a sponsored content, and they've figured out what margin, how many links they need to add in order to make a profit, and then they've just added a bunch of clients into it. Super sketchy, no value, but really quite easy to spot and not get yourself in a position where you pay a bunch of money, you get a link report, and unknowingly you've got zero value in what's been delivered.
Yeah, and I'll toss in a third type of fake PR, because this is one that I think maybe about a year ago we started on sales calls, we started having people ask us about, like, how do I know they're legit and you're not just putting a quote in a guest post link? So that's something that's been happening a lot. That one's a little bit harder to pick up, although I would say look at the publication. Is it a good publication? Do you recognize it? Not saying every link you land with digital PR is going to be like a household name, but most of them are. So if you're getting a link report and it's full of sites you've never heard of that have mediocre metrics, that's when it's worth a closer look, looking at the rest of their content, saying, is that site clearly doing paid link building? If you go into Homes and Gardens, for example, like, they link out to a lot of people, but they're all quotes. They're all like, the journalists are, you can see who the journalist is. I think it's a little more clear that's a legit publication. So we've got three types of kind of fake PR we talked about. First one's not really fake. It's just often sold as like a link building activity when it's not, and that's press releases. I think those can be kind of easy to spot. They're always lower metrics, and there's some sort of affiliate of a news network you've heard of. Mm-hmm. They're oftentimes not, or they're promotional. So real PR is rarely promotional, right? You have to have some sort of interesting story or the journalist isn't going to use it. So if you are able to write whatever you want and then it goes out in a bunch of small news publications, that's a PR release. Those are, I mean, if you want to do that, go find a platform, pay $50 to $100, and you can do it yourself. So that's one. Two is sponsor content. Look for the sponsor tag. So you can get in big publications, get really excited about that, but just check that there's no sponsor tag. And then third is guest post links where they just quote and make it look like a journalist has actually done PR. And those, I think, if you dig into the publication, you'll see that they're not typically doing journalistic content. They're more of a blog. So those are the three types we see, and I think how you can look for those.
And on the third type as well, there is nuances to it. So you do need to really look and have your eyes open. So many SaaS platforms do these sorts of roundup posts where they are being written by and sourced for 100% above board by really big writers or journalists in the space, but it's a content piece, a journalistic content type that works really well within that particular industry. So you'll see platforms like Zapier often doing big marketing or business pieces where they're looking to quote multiple experts. So it might look a little bit like that sort of roundup guest post, but it's Zapier. It's not. They've sourced for that, and you can track that source request as well. If they will have put that out, either the writer on their platform, they would have sourced for it publicly on a platform, and so you can track that and trace. Whereas, like you said, if you're looking in a link report and you've got 6 sites you've never heard of, and you're on a top 50 experts list, and none of the experts have got anything to do with each other, then alarm bells. That's
another thing. I think if you get a post with a bunch of different quotes, are they related? Are they quoting like an HR person in the same post as like a mattress expert? Like that can be a dead giveaway. But yeah, if you go look at, you mentioned Zapier. If you go look at Zapier's other post, you'll see that they're probably not selling links, right? You can always tell when a publication is selling links. So go look at a post that's not a quote-based post, and then see, have they added things for like Web Designer Denver, like things that are clearly paid links. And if you're not seeing those, then you can feel a little more confident that it's not manipulated PR. And I would say last, we can always prove where it came from. We always have the outreach with the journalist. If we've sourced it from one of the journalist request platforms, we always have that question coming in, right? And then our response written up. We have records of everything we pitch. So if you still aren't sure, I think you can ask your PR company, can you show me this one? This one's a little suspect. And they should have some sort of record of pitching that.
Yeah. And one final thing, if they deliver all of your links within the space of a week, That's another alarm bell.
That's impossible.